and I think because I don't have a relationship, I don't care.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Oh, okay, I get you exactly because there's no. It's like almost nothing to lose.
There's nothing to lose,
right.
except my job. Welcome back to In the Midst podcast. I'm Debbie.
And I'm Pia.
And we are excited to have you guys join us for another episode. Thank you guys for coming back week after week. And yeah, we are going to get into episode 6, which we're going to be talking about conflict and confrontation, which, it's something that we've had to recently deal with in our own friendship. Like,
it's just something about living together for 1 year.
It's like, oh my
gosh. Like, it's great. There were great moments, of course.
Of course.
It's like we get to see the best and the worst of each other.
Of course,
so,
absolutely. So we're gonna get into that. Before we do, make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe if you are on YouTube. If you are listening to us just audibly, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Google Podcasts, and also take a look at us on Instagram at In the Midst Pod. Yes, so let's get into this. Let's get into conflict styles. So, what is your conflict style?
Okay, so I like to say like more or less confrontational.
Yeah.
Like honestly, and I say more or less because it's like, okay, my close people, like closest friends, closest family, I'm gonna be straight up.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna be straight up. Acquaintances, maybe people who I'm not super close to, I have like there. Like I kind of like I tread a little bit lighter, and it's just like I like read the room a little bit more.
Yeah,
I think it's even a comfort thing as well. And then this is a con, but like sometimes in a negative way, which is something I have to work on. If it's a stranger and it's just like there's a conflict and you dead wrong, like I could be confrontational in a bad way. But like that, just being honest. Like so, I would say that's why I say more or less like confrontational because it depends. Like I said, like work, acquaintances, I tread lightly, and sometimes even can be a con because like you need to advocate for yourself.
Yes.
But like also no one's gonna tempt me if you eat yet, but like
for
sure. Like, there's a line there, but anyways, long story short,
confrontational.
Yeah. How about you?
And I'm the opposite in those situations. So when it comes to friends, I am non-confrontational. I would even avoidant, I would say. When it comes to in terms of just conflict styles, definitely non-confrontational. And then when it comes to relationships, when it comes to friends, I'm going to avoid certain kind of confrontation. When it comes to family, though, I can be confrontational for sure with family. Yeah. And then when it comes to like at work, that's like at work when it comes to people that I don't know or if you just if I just think that's so weird, I don't know, I just think about work situations where I've been confrontational with customers where you're supposed to have the best customer service. I've been confrontational, incredibly confrontational to a negative. Yeah. So it's so interesting how some of my closest relationships, I have been non-confrontational, but then in certain situations, I'm willing to do that. I think about if I especially when it comes to behaviors with children, with other people, I am that person that's gonna be sorry, I will step in and speak up and excuse me, Johnny, can you stop doing that?
Yeah, you and
even if the mom or dad is there, I will correct your child in front of you if I need to sometimes. Because to me it's just no.
Yeah.
But that's not always good. But you know that that's crazy because I can be very confrontational there. But then when it comes to friendships, sometimes,
wow, it's so we're literally the opposite.
Yeah,
literally
very
the
much
opposite.
so.
But and I guess that goes into the next question. So, can conflict styles affect relationships differently? Yes.
Definitely. Let's get into why. Why? So why do you think? You're more confrontational with friends versus with work or different
I think it's a comfort thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a comfort thing. It's just we're comfortable. You know me. I can just be honest. That's what I mean. And I think I didn't even define what I mean by confrontational. Confrontational is honest, blunt.
You're honest and direct and blunt.
That's literally what it means by that. So, and I think it's just a level of comfort. Oh, well, we're just here, so I'm just gonna be completely honest. I just have that comfort level to just be completely honest.
Yeah.
But like I said, that's a good thing because it's we'll get into that later. But I think that's why. Because it's just like, you can't get too comfortable.
Yes.
You can't get too comfortable. It's a good thing to be comfortable because you can like start combos or whatever, but
Yes.
you don't want to get too comfortable because you need to be mindful of people's feelings and like how you're coming across. So,
Absolutely.
I'm saying you, how I'm coming across.
No, for sure,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. And then so when you think about other relationships or other, you know, like at work or whatever, why do you think your conflict style is more held back? Why do you think you do that there?
I think because also like a comfort level, like I'm definitely like, I would say more observant, like if I don't know, I'm more observant to myself type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's also a comfort and like a self like preservation thing. It's just like, let me just observe. Is this like if I'm not fully comfortable, I'm not gonna even open up.
Yeah.
Like half my family still can't believe I talk. Like, no, I'm serious.
That's
like seriously,
hilarious.
like half my family, like to be honest,
When
like
we started this podcast, like what? Can't talk. It's like she talks a lot.
yeah, you know what I
What
mean.
to say?
But I think, and that's not to say, oh, I'm not comfortable with you. Like, no, but it's just like when you're closer with people, like there's certain like
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's pretty much it, I would say.
No, absolutely, absolutely. There was something I was gonna say about that. I think what I was gonna say too. I think in terms of when it comes to other people and not wanting to get into it is because I think, like you said, self-preservation is. You like, and you also said like having I, which meaning like something my mom would say is you don't have I, you don't know I, which means like if you're doing something wrong, like my mom would say this to me if I'm like in the store touching everything and she's giving me the look like stop. You're not saying anything but like saying you better stop, and I'm not. It's like you don't know I. Like I'm telling you to stop with my eyes, and you're continuing on. So you know you're looking at your surroundings. You're like, okay, let me not, because they don't know me and I don't know them. And you don't also. I think you don't. I think you've mentioned this. You don't want it to escalate and you just explode and go off like that.
Because that's the thing. It's like that comes with the comfort level. Exactly. It's
yes.
like, okay, I know what I can say to certain friends. I know their personalities.
Yeah.
So I know the level I can go at. But this is even my own flaw I need to work on. It's like sometimes it's just like I'm gonna avoid it because if I start and I don't know you,
you'll clap back.
Yeah, it's a clap back thing.
Yeah.
So like, and that's not. I'm not praising that. Like just
it's
being
just
honest.
honest. Yeah, I'm just saying like that's how. And it's a good thing. Yeah, it's good to be honest about that because I know a lot of people can relate to this kind of to how people can sometimes just be like absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. And how do I guess I answered.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah.
No worries. For me, so when it comes to, I think where it started, because I've had to recently really think to myself, like, why is it that with friendships, I kind of avoid, telling them about themselves, or I try, like, harsh conversations make me uncomfortable. Like,
right,
I'm like, I don't really like that.
Right.
And I think where it comes from, and I've said this before, it's like, unfortunately, like in my family, it's been like head on. Everyone is confrontational. Will say what's on their mind in a way that can be very harsh sometimes. And so because of that, and because I know how bad it can get in those areas, I try and preserve my friendships. And and so I try and avoid like getting super confrontational.
Right.
Or into like, I want to preserve the friendship and even have a fear of losing. Like I think when I was younger, especially when I was younger, had a fear of losing the friendship if I ever, went in the way I can. Because when you sometimes you can fight the worst with your family, and I because my family didn't we haven't always dealt with confrontation in healthy ways and conflict in healthy ways. I know how bad I really can get. Like I know how I can be ouch. Like I know I can be like that. So I don't want to do that to my friends. And then also I think it's just also having, like, for instance, a mom who was very blunt to a fault, blunt to where it wasn't encouraging for me, it wasn't helpful. So I kind of put myself in that person's shoes and think, okay, if I said it this way, how would they feel? How would it make them feel if I said it this way? Or how would it, not even if I said it, if I bring this up necessarily, are they going to receive it well? Is it going to be fruitful?
Right.
Or is it going to be awkward? I just don't like those kind of situations.
Right. No.
Yeah. And then I guess when it comes to like having a conflict with other people, in my head I just think to myself, it's like, I'm actually helping you right now. I'm trying to be nice. Like, like, I don't know. When it comes to like, I always think about customer service jobs I've had in the past and where I've just lost it on customers. And like, I'm not saying I'm belligerent, but I don't like, I guess, when people have this entitlement. I can't stand when like adults have this entitlement and think that you're supposed to bring them everything on a silver platter without their understanding. And so I will just be like that, like the customer service, like, hi, are you smoking at me? Like goes out the door and I'm just like, no, that's not how it works, ma'am. Da, 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 da. Like literally unzipping myself out of my and code switch to back, like no. And so I don't know, and I think because I don't have a relationship, I don't care.
Yeah,
I guess so.
Oh, okay, I get you exactly because it's like almost nothing to lose.
There's nothing to lose,
right.
except my job. Which I'm kind of saying it's happened before.
Transparency moment.
That's not because I was rude. Mm-mm.
Wow.
I'll be honest. Let me not expose myself too much. I'm being funny, but like I'm gonna be honest. Every customer support job that I've had over the phone, it starts off. I remember the beginning of my customer support, I would last for a long time. Then I got sick of adults, and then everyone after that, I lost my cool sooner and sooner. I was like, wow, so this is not for me. It's time to really
go
get
to teachers college.
Exactly.
It's time to go to teachers
college. It's time to go into the dream I've always had.
Yeah.
Nothing to lose about my job.
That's hilarious. Lessons learned, right? But yeah, and I guess so what are the positives of your conflict style? Like what is something that you have noticed as a positive of the way you confront or like you deal with conflict? Yeah,
I think a positive is that I try to have empathy. I think I'm empathizing with that person, and so I want them to know, like, okay, I actually hear what you're saying, and I try to put, because I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, I'm trying to think, like, yo, I struggled in these areas too, like,
right.
I get where they're coming from, this is hard, so I think there's this empathy with that, and I can't remember what else I would say, but yeah, I guess it was just more of having empathy for the person in that situation, and I want them to feel like they can open up to me because I actually I genuinely care, but I'm not always caring in the best way.
Right. No, I get that, and I guess and we'll go into like negatives or
afterwards. Go for what is your positive?
For me, I would say because like I said, it's like especially with my closest people, it's like I'm not afraid to start the uncomfortable conversation at all. So I think that's a good thing because it's just like I'll start it, I will address the elephant in the room.
Yes.
Which is good because it's just like if there is an issue, if there's the elephant, we can address it and move on.
Absolutely.
So I think that's I just
big time.
I can't God don't even let me sleep if there's a problem. I think that I deal with anxiety if there's something that needs to be addressed.
Yes.
Especially this close. So I'm that I would say that's a positive thing. It's just being able to address it.
Yes, and in terms of our friendship, because we were saying we have been, not that we are learning our confrontational styles, but we're more bringing it back to the forefront and thinking okay, why have we had conflicts? Right. And I think one thing, if we were to go into the negatives, is that I think to myself. So this is my negative with why I do it, is that I think to myself. I think a couple of years ago, recognizing when we're talking a lot about mental health a lot more, I kind of recognize, I recognize you deal with anxiety. And so because of that, I would use it as a way to show grace and be like, you know what, that's just how she is.
Right.
She didn't really mean it that way. So I'm just going to, it's not a big deal. Even though I would be offended, even though it was hurtful, I'd be like, she didn't mean it that way.
Right. And you know what's crazy though? It's just the way of showing grace, and I think that just comes to personality. The way of showing me grace in that moment is to have that uncomfortable conversation because it's just because I might be dealing with anxiety doesn't mean I don't need to deal with that properly. You know what I mean? It doesn't give me an excuse to react in a certain way.
Big time.
So in that way, and this is just what we've learned over the years. But it's showing me grace is calling me out in the moment. It's no matter how sometimes showing grace is that uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
That uncomfortable thing.
That uncomfortable conversation. And I was gonna say in terms of conflict styles, I think how they could be, for you, a positive of you being direct. I think it comes from having healthier conflict resolution from your home, right?
Agreed. Yeah.
Right? Because for sure, you definitely are the one who will address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I see the elephant, and I'm like... I'm like, no. I just am okay. And sometimes I even tell myself, we all know what the problem is. Let's just move on.
And then there's like me, I'm like, no, I see what the problem is. We need to address it to move on. Like, you know what I mean?
And
like,
the way that God has caused us to have more, guys, we're going to be honest, we've had the more fights we've ever had in our friendship in the last 6 months. So many,
yes.
and it's becoming easier and easier. Not easier and easier to fight, but like easier and easier. For me, I'm like,
oh, wow,
in the beginning, I'd be like, oh gosh, it was so awkward. And I would tell half my truth and not fully my truth.
Right,
and now it's getting easier and easier. And we're going to get into it, but I think it's super important with conflict to feel safe in your conflict with that friend.
For sure.
Right? Because if you don't
sure.
feel safe, you don't feel like you can, and we were discussing this before, like, I think I avoided sometimes being honest with how I was feeling in our conflicts is because I was like, oh, I don't want to lose this friendship.
Right.
I don't know if she's going to take it the right way. Like, I didn't want to, I wanted to avoid that, but then.
It's like, that's why, like, literally we're friends, like, iron sharpens iron. And it's just like, and I think it probably even, like, would be probably more annoying for you is because I'm direct. So if I notice a blind spot in you, I will call it out. But it's just like, but I notice this in you. But if you don't call it out, like, it's just like, wow, you're telling me all of these things about me, but I notice these things about you. But it's like, we can't change those things if we, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
It's just like,
we have to do that.
Yeah.
You know, we have to do that. And then also just like sometimes, you know, when we know different friends, like, it's like sometimes it can be easier to like be direct with certain friends because you're like, okay, I know how they're gonna deal with it, and it's like, okay, I know this friend might not take it the best, so I'm just going to avoid it sometimes, right? So it's learning, like having trust, and I think honestly, I just recognize, as sucky as it has been to have some of these conflicts, it's like really recognizing that God is helping us truly sharpen the friendship and be like, yo, for a really long time, you guys have had a friendship that has been great in many aspects, like.
But certain areas have been surface though.
Yes,
certain areas have been super.
Have been super surface.
We didn't think so. We didn't think so.
We didn't think so. But God is helping us to really, you know, bring that to the forefront, and it's health. Like, it's just part of maturity, which we're gonna get into anymore. But I wanted to ask you too. What would you say if
negatives?
The negatives.
I didn't say. So the negatives of mine are like, I think like. When you hear the word empathy sometimes, like, we think it's like, oh wow, that's like great, like that's great. It's
sweet.
Like you feel what someone else feels. You put your, like, you know what I mean, and that is an aspect.
And soft or whatever.
You know what I mean? That is an aspect of empathy. But I would say, like, and because a lot of people in my life have brought this up for me, is like, I have empathy in a negative way sometimes. So it's like in a way of like, I take on other people's burdens, where it's just like, I see. You're literally like running through a red light.
You're type A.
I'm super.
And type A, I think that, like, I had a discussion with a different friend. Like, type A can have an effect on how you deal with those kind of things.
For sure.
Very much like, oh wait, this is the right thing to do. What is so hard about doing this? Come on, let's do this.
For sure, exactly. And it's just like, oh my, especially if it's like, oh, it's a mistake or a struggle. It's just like, oh my gosh, like, this is the wrong thing. Like, you know, so it's just like,
and it becomes a burden for you.
It becomes a burden.
Like, oh my gosh, don't do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a stress. I don't know. I think I just imagine with you. It's just like, oh my goodness, like, this is crazy. Like, why is this happening? And if only you didn't do it. Like, I don't know. Like, I literally think that's like maybe how it is in your brain. I don't know if
I
that's
feel
true.
like even like subconsciously it is. Even if I don't think, I'm just like, my shoulders are just slowly reaching my ears, like a massage. But like, but yeah, definitely. Like, I feel like I definitely take on other people's burdens in a bad way. Like, it's like, yeah, we're supposed to bear each other's burdens as friends and stuff, but it's just like to an extent, like, I'm not Christ.
Absolutely
I'm
not.
not Christ.
Yeah,
I can't carry it. Yeah. And because I can't carry it, it's not pride. What was I trying to say? Like, it's not, well, it is a place of pride for sure. I forget what I was trying to say, but it will come back.
Self-preservation? No, something else. I can't remember.
You know? Yeah. It will come back. Come back. But it's just like, because, and it's like I actually really care for those people that I love. Exactly. And it's just like, so I want the best for you, but it's like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I have a brain fart, so you know.
No, it's okay. I get it, but you know, that's just, we have our own negatives. It's like, it's just frustrating. It's just super frustrating. I think sometimes it's like even an annoyance. It's annoying to be like, yo, what are you doing here?
Right.
You know what you need to do.
Right.
And then sometimes I'm not addressing it because I'm just like, you know what? They know what they need to do. They'll figure it out.
Right. And it's just like, for me, it's like maybe I need to, not maybe, it's like listen. Like, oh, that's what it is. It's like I can't always fix the problem. Like, and it's not always time to offer up a solution. Of course you do. I'm always gonna be like that's there's a pro to being direct for sure. But sometimes it's just like to listen. And for you, it's just like the person you think, oh, she knows what she's dealing with. Like she'll deal with it. But no, because it's literally a blind, like, you know what I mean? It's like literally a blind spot. Some, like,
yeah,
so it's just like, might not even deal, like, might not even realize, like, it's a struggle. So
absolutely.
It's like, we have to, like, for you, it's like, okay, you have to speak it up.
I have to advocate for myself.
Advocate for yourself and just, like, also, like, sharpen your friend.
Absolutely.
And for me, it's like, I can still sharpen my friend and hold them accountable, but also listen and also, like, make sure I'm voiced, because ultimately, it's like, I care and I want the best for you. But it's like voice that as well, like voice that,
absolutely,
like vocalize that.
Absolutely, like, and ultimately, like I think we were discussing as well the importance of just getting to a place of actual maturity and growth. Like I think it's very easy to like overcome all of these other sins, but when it comes to like emotional kind of growth, or it comes to how you deal with conflict with other people, it's like that's super important too. And I think when you get to, you know, your late 20s, early 30s, you really start thinking like, oh man, I have to really reflect on why I do some of these things. Why like think about the last argument you had or the last fight you had, like really taking the time to reflect, okay, what did they do wrong? Which is easy. Right.
Super easy. You come to that conclusion in 0.5 seconds.
Absolutely. Yeah. What the heck, they did this. That's easy. But take a look internally and be like, yo, where did I go wrong? Why do I always, like, I think with some of my family members, I think I always fight with my dad in this certain way because of this in me and this in him. We're similar.
Right.
Right. And so now as I get older, I'm like, yeah. And I think it's just part of maturity. You're just like, no, I'm not doing this.
Right.
To this delightful old father of mine. Love you, Dad. I'm not going to do that to him. No way. No way. Yeah. Like let me be patient with him and more loving. Let me I know where I went wrong. I should have stopped here and I didn't. I decided to keep going.
Yeah.
So why did I keep going? Right. I shouldn't have kept going. I should have kept my cool. I should have kept my mouth shut. I should have walked away, whatever it is. And then get to the root. And I think a root we were talking about is, I feel like a lot of conflicts come from, like one thing that we said, what have we learned about avoiding conflict and its effects is ego and pride and insecurities. Yeah. I feel like that's the root of most of our issues.
Definitely. And I feel like it's like they connect together. Like, it's like those are separate things, but they definitely connect. Big time. Like a bad ego or like huge ego is like the root of that is pride.
Yes.
And like the root of your pride is like insecurities, and then even further than that, fear. Like, and it's just like that's there's so many like for you had mentioned, it's just like, oh, I don't want to, if I'm not wanting to confront it, because I fear that I'm going to like lose this relationship or whatever. And for me, it's like the pride of thinking like I have all the answers when I don't.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like the pride of thinking like as if like, okay, yeah, hold your friend accountable, but trust that, especially if they're a believer, that God's gonna tell them what, like God's gonna direct them eventually. Because there's been times where I've been hard-headed or done the wrong things and I couldn't hear, so I must feel. And
I'm an advocate. I'm a strong advocate for if you can't hear, you must feel, because that's me. I'm stubborn.
Shout out to Winnie, you know.
Oh, I love, ever since Winnie has said that, it's been a Facebook status back 10 years ago, and ever since I'm like, yes, if you can't hear, you must feel. Yes, no, it's so true.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, like.
But of course, if you can help a friend to not feel and they can listen, please. Right. It's better to listen, please.
It is. And I think that's what it is sometimes too. It's just like, no, like I know
exactly.
It's literally going on this path. But it's like sometimes
my best lessons have been because I felt and I was like, wow, that burned. I'm not doing that again.
Straight up.
I'm not doing that again.
Yeah. And then exactly, you have the scar and you're stronger, but now you know to never ever touch that fire again.
1000%. 1000%. Yeah, so we can just go into like our next question, which is like, let's talk about, and I think we kind of mentioned this, was maturity and holding one another accountable and being accountable to ourselves.
Yeah.
We were saying before, as you're getting older, I think it's just super important to really self-reflect and think to yourself, like, why do I react in this way with certain people and then maybe not with other people?
Right.
I gotta pray for it too.
No, it's okay. And I think as well, like just recognizing like sometimes people are like where they're at mentally as well. Because there's been places, there's been a time and place where the cynicism for me, Debbie could encourage me till the cow comes home, and I'm just like, okay.
Literally on the phone, I'm like, encouragement, and I can hear she's like, and I'm just like, this girl, she's like, the way you just do it, I'm just like, she's even trying to convince herself in this moment, but it's not true.
It's not working, you know what I mean?
I know, I'm just like, nah.
And that's when the Holy Spirit just got to do its job. Because, like, sometimes, like, not saying, like, you don't still encourage your friend and stuff, but it's just, like, sometimes you just got to pray for that friend.
You have to pray for that friend. And I think another thing I was going to say, too, is, like, just going further into like building the trust is like building that trust with different kinds of friendships. Because I definitely I am someone, I mean, I'm used to hearing, like, again, like I said, with my mom being very direct with me, I'm used to hearing that, but it doesn't mean I always want that. Like, I'm definitely somebody who is like, if I'm struggling and I'm opening up, like, or I'm struggling in this, I need someone to really and truly hear me out and then encourage me in that, so that I feel like, okay, I can be open and honest. Because if not, with you, some of my struggles I've had, I just didn't tell you because I already knew I knew what you were gonna say. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna hide that.
And you know what's crazy? Because like you mentioned about like just like family and upbringing styles, and it's just like, I think because like I'm just, like I can be super direct like that and not have to like I said, have to vocalize like my intent behind like being direct or whatever. It's like I actually like deeply care, but it's like I think because me and my mom and like just my relationship with family, like we're just straight like that. Like we're just straight like that, but it's like I knew my mom was always here for me, like through like the actions. You know what I mean? Like I know like our relationship was not gonna be marred from this. So like I have that safe place, but I need to recognize that like that's not everybody's, you know what I mean? Like that's not everybody's story. It's like that type of thing.
Absolutely.
Thing. Yes. Like sometimes there is a fear of like a relationship changing if you're super honest. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Or you know, there's some situations where unfortunately if someone is manipulative, they use that against you and they use that to control you, and you know, that can therapy, listen to last week's episode, like get that help so that you can work through that. And that's something I'm recognizing, like, okay, I'm getting to the root of my own issues here. I need to have much better conflict resolution. I need to be direct. I need to be honest. I need to do that for myself because I am getting too grown for me to just hold things in. If I know how to say things in a good way, let me do that and say what's on my mind and do so in a loving way. I'm working on that, but I need to, right?
For sure, and exactly, because it's like we're not trying to be 65 acting 16. Like, because the thing is, you don't mature because of your age.
Not at all.
You mature because you actually put the work in. You allow the Holy Spirit to change, to create in you a clean heart, to renew your mind. All of these things, like it's intentional.
So let's get into. We can get into like the verses that we had thought about that relate to all of this. So know this, my beloved brothers: let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. And that's in James 1:19-21.
That one I feel is like
it's a nail on the head.
For sure, because I feel like that's literally how conflicts escalate so quickly. Because it's just like if you don't like sometimes if someone is holding you accountable, like in that comes offense sometimes. Like that just is what it is. If we're gonna be calling each other to be a better person, that means we're calling out things that are not the best sometimes. So of course in your flesh you're gonna be offended. But it's just like, okay, if the goal is to kill flesh and to kill pride, then I literally have to be slow to speak. Because at that point it just becomes the race to who has the last word, and you're just all of a sudden you're screaming.
Wow, fast.
All of a sudden it's like, oh, why is the voice elevated?
Wow.
The neighbors are staring.
No, that's not good. No, that's not good. It's not good. The laughing one is like, wow. No, it's not good. It's like, that's not ugly part I need anyone to see.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Really ugly. It's not cute or becoming.
It's not cute or becoming. Let's bring it back. But like, exactly. And just like even, just taking time to listen. Taking time to, especially
because you jump to conclusions.
Exactly.
You jump to conclusions when you're angry and you're heated.
Exactly.
And you miss what they actually need.
Right. And it's like, I think like when we're not like when we don't take the time to just actually listen, you forget that your loved one is a loved one. Like they actually care about you. They are bringing this to your attention because they love you. So it's just like, it's like, ouch, it hurts because it's like,
but
dang.
can you trust them? But and that's why like trust is so important. Like if I can trust that you're bringing this up not maliciously, not in a prideful way, not like oh petty. I'm better, no petty. Like if I can trust that you're bringing this up because you actually genuinely love me, and I can trust that in this confrontational style it's going to be healthy. Like it's not, it's going to be awkward. It's not to say that every confrontational style is going to be, oh, that was great, and move on. Like, we've had times where it's like, okay, cool, that wasn't the best, but like, or that wasn't the most comfortable thing, but that was actually pretty good.
Right.
And then a couple of days later, it's like, okay, so actually part 2, you know.
Open the list.
It cracks me up. It cracks me up. He's like, yeah, so I actually took notes. I'm like,
I have to. Because I'm just like,
I know.
no, this needs to get like, because we don't need to be having 7 combos.
I know, so I love the typing, man. I love the typing. And then me, I'm just like, it's all here. I just gotta organize it. It's just all over the place. But yeah, exactly. No, actually. And also one thing I want to say in terms of with that verse as well, it's not to say that you can't have anger. Like, anger is a human emotion, and this was talked about last week with Sarah when she said that these are real emotions. We try to equate these negative emotions with meaning, or sorry,
we put like, we're like, oh, it's a negative or a positive. It's just a marker. It's just literally a marker. It's how you deal with it.
Yes.
It's how you deal with it.
Exactly. What is the byproduct? What is the result of that? Where it's like, the word says, be angry but do not sin.
Right. Meaning we're going to be angry in this life.
Absolutely.
We're going to be sad in this life.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? But it's how we deal with it.
Exactly.
How we cope with it.
And this verse is talking about that was slow to anger, for the anger of man does not produce righteousness. It's saying the sinful anger of man.
Right.
That's like, it's not saying you can't be angry. Like, just to be, clear on that.
Right.
Then another one, or actually something else I wanted to also say was sometimes in conflict as well with certain people, sometimes you have to learn to not even, you have to disengage. Yep. You have to not even engage, because you recognize every time I have an argument, like I recognize this with someone, like every time we get into an argument or a disagreement, it starts as a disagreement, I recognize that they're not able to actually hear what I'm saying. And if they're not hearing what I'm saying, I'm going to get heated. And it's going to go, never goes anywhere. We actually just end up being hurt.
Wow.
So I'm going to disengage in this area. And that's not saying to be avoidant of confrontation. It's about not engaging in what you know is not going to birth anything healthy at this time.
Right. And like that, when you say that, that makes me think of, so it's Proverbs 15:1. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Ooh, literally sometimes, like, because I think about myself and I can be, even though I'm confrontational or direct, I can be avoidant. But like, there's a positive to it sometimes, because it's just like, okay, if I know my default, like my negative default is 0 to 100, me being kind is, can we talk about this in a couple days or like in a couple hours? Then talking about it right now, because I know the emotions are through the roof. Yes. I know that I'm angry or whatever, and like you don't want to sit in your anger. Exactly. I'm not trying to sit in my anger. Things have made, like, words may have already been said that like lines have already been crossed, so why are we going to cross any more lines? For sure. It's actually just time to just even process things, pray on it, relax, like calm down, and address.
So you want to be able to get to a place where I can have a soft answer.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah. So like,
because we like, I love that. It's so true. You know that, okay, the harsh words already stirred up anger and sin and really like just negativity, like bad negativity and everything. So why do that? I need a break. I need to actually take some time to process this, heal, like really rationalize, think about what think about your contribution, like, because like we said, it's so easy to think about the other person's contribution. You can do that immediately. You already know how you were wrong. That's why you even acted offended. That's why you even like acted it, like reacted the way you did. But like, now it's time to like take some time to like, okay, how did I contribute to this? Because honestly, there's nothing worse than like a blamer, like someone who did, like, it's always somebody else's fault. Like if it's always somebody else's fault, like you should grow up. You
No, seriously.
You should grow up.
No, but for real,
It's
like
true.
if it's always somebody else's fault, like
Who's
who's
your
the
common
common denominator? It's you.
It's you.
It's you. It's always talking about my enemies and the devil's after me. Is he?
Is he though?
Or is it your flesh?
It might be. Ooh. Tell them. Tell them, please.
Come on now,
Please.
Yeah.
And then the last verse to get into is let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander. Oof, the Bible's like this one and this one and this one and this one and this one be put away from you, along with all malice. Like, wait, one more.
Oh.
Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ.
Rewind.
Thank you.
Okay.
Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave you. Ephesians 4:31-32. And that's just to encompass everything we've been saying. Be kind. Be kind. Be forgiving. Be tender-hearted.
All of these things.
All of these things, like, come on, like, put those. Yeah, you already know, guys. Think about it. Reflect.
Reflect,
Just reflect. Let us know in the comment below what that verse means to you.
We're recording at 8:52 right now. Please have grace on us.
Guys, life is lifing. Life is lifing.
Life is lifing. So just
Life is doing what life does best, and we're tired. Today's actually been a long day of tasks, and this is the first time we've ever recorded.
In the evening.
In the
week.
In the week, yeah, we
film on Saturday mornings. We're trying to do something different because
we have no
choice. We have no choice.
No choice. We're like, no, we need to do this today. And so if even if our energy is not up, it's because we're tired.
It's bedtime after this.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I don't wait, man.
Yeah.
But yes.
This is a good episode though.
Yeah.
Wow. No, honestly, Debbie,
bam.
The lessons we learned in these past 6 months, guys, if you could be a fly on the wall in this home.
God is good, man. God is good.
He really
God
is
good through all of these conflicts.
Yeah. And honestly, ultimately, the friendship grows stronger.
Big
and
time.
It's just just the lessons we learned in this, they transfer into other relationships, family, boyfriend, all of these things.
Absolutely.
It's just good to deal with these things now. It's good to
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're growing.
Yeah.
We are cute and becoming. We didn't become more cute.
Yeah, right.
Well, just more.
Exactly. Really cute, multifaceted. Sexy ladies.
Sexy. S-E-G. Sexy. Okay? Well, multifaceted, beautiful, sexy ladies. Wow.
That's enough now.
Yeah. I know. I was hoping we were going to go off a tangent, but as per usual,
we are waffling.
You get what you get here, okay?
Exactly.
The Miss Pie, you get here.
Exactly. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us again this week. Come back next week. Remember to subscribe to our channel. Follow us on